welcome everyone to Martinsville Superspeedway. It is the paperclip, the concrete junkyard. Multiple names can apply to this track. It's a half-mile, flat, short oval, and it's the home this weekend to the Darkside Mustangs A² Cup Series. Last 27 minutes in practice lie ahead of us before we get ready for qualifying. Looking at Toby Estes, who is the fastest driver on track at the moment. You see Toby Estes coming down to pit lane. Joshua Gaiman sitting second on the leaderboards at the moment. $18 drivers set lap time so far here in Martinsville. A couple drivers yet to set lap time so far of those that have joined from the garage area. James Kerr and Trey Kirk. James Kerr just set a lap time, excuse me. Trey Kirk in the 20th spot hasn't set a lap time just yet. We'll see what time he sets, but right now we have 19 cars on the leaderboard. Gaiman's the fastest of the bunch of those on track. Toby Estes, the fastest overall in pit lane at the moment. We're approaching 5 minutes left here in practice here at Martinsville. Watching most of it, just kind of making sure all of the systems are good to go for this evening. Looking at the number 9, Seth Wansing. That was Rich Catania that was spinning on the back straightaway. Wansing dealing with the number 6 of Tommy Withers, and they both slide, and they both hit the inside wall. That was Wansing in 5th, Withers in 7th. 23 cars have set a lap time. 2 cars have not set a lap time yet. Jacob Blankenship in the 85 and Kevin Feimster in the number 8 have not set lap times in this session. I believe drivers' meeting about to be underway. This is going to be a wild night here in Martinsville, Virginia. We were in Richmond last weekend. So not a far travel between last weekend and this weekend. Obviously, next weekend, I believe, is Bristol on dirt. So that should be entertaining. Right now, we're looking at Wansing, who is all in pit lane. Everyone, I believe, in pit lane at this present time. John Smeal might be exiting to leave. Nope, he's come to a stop. So we are in the driver's meeting. So we will rejoin you for commentary of qualifying when that begins in about 4 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Take this chance to get something to snack on, get something to drink. Because when qualifying begins, it's at the drop of a hat, and we just don't stop. So take this chance, recover, refresh. We'll join you back again for qualifying here at Martinsville. Alrighty, qualifying now underway here in Martinsville. John Smeal kicks us off. Several cars on track. Alex Mkowski, Trey Kirk, Pete Woodrum, Jeremy Breo, Tommy Reynolds, Joshua Gaiman, Davey Houck, Seth Wansing, John Smeal, Donald Ray, and Kevin Feemster all on track at the moment. John Smeal is going to complete his lap first, I believe. Between him and Jeremy Breo. Breo sets his lap first. So does Trey Kirk. Smeal sets second fastest lap. Tommy Reynolds to the top of the board with a 19.76. There's the number 7. Breo again up to second place. Just at his second lap. Trey Kirk did not get to set a second lap. Time spun out. And Tommy Reynolds abandoned his second lap as well. Tom Sears just went second fastest. Again, for those that are new to this series, those that may not understand how this is going to work, there are heat races to this. Now, to my understanding, everyone that's in these heat races will make it into the main event tonight. I could be wrong about that. But the important thing is that the top two, which right now is Reynolds and Sears, they are locked in. They don't have to take part in any of the heat races before the main event. There's 2 heat races, then a main event. Or 2 heat races, a last chance qualifier, then a main event. So heat 1 will determine the inside of rows 2 through 7. Heat race number 2 determines the outside of rows 2 through 7. And the last chance qualifier determines everyone between positions 15 and 30. To my understanding, we're going to have 26 cars here at Martinsville, so everyone's going to make it in to the show. Toby Estes just went to provisional pole, 19.74. He was on the podium last week at Richmond. Let's see what he can do here. He's on his second lap. Was that second lap better? It was 19.64. There you go. Jacob Blankenship in the number 85 now on track, starting or finishing his first lap. He goes up to 8th. See what the second lap looks like for him. Ben Choate running a second lap here. He's trying to get himself on the board. Can Blankenship make it to the top? Second lap in. He does! 19.57 on the cusp of his first pole in the A Square Cup Series. There you go. Withers just set a second lap time. Don't believe anyone else is running laps here. Couple cars running laps. Alex Jimkowski's on track. But he is just running laps at this particular point in time, just getting some more practice time in. These laps are not counting for him. He is still in the 11th spot. Jimkowski in the 99. The John Deere machine. Jonathan Hohenbrink, the Mobile One, number 20. Gonna try to set a lap time. He's on his first lap right now. Let's see what Hohenbrink can do. Hohenbrink coming to the start-finish line. What time was it? Puts him 17th at the moment. Front row, probably not likely here for Hohenbrink, but we'll see what he can put down on his second lap. Second laps have been faster for those that have been able to run them. Can Hohenbrink pull some time out of it? He had a 20.22. 20.09. He does gain time up to 14th for the number 20. 21 cars for the lap time. Bradley Wright up next in the number 51. So from one Toyota to another, what can Bradley Wright put together here? Comes to the line. Again, very subdued exiting turns 2. You imagine that he's going to be subdued exiting turn 4 as well. Across the line, what's it look like for Bradley Wright? Only 22nd. See if he can put it together and get a better lap time here. Where you qualify will determine what heat you're in, and then further determines your chances in those heats. Bradley Wright moved up to 18th, so still in the second heat as it stands at the moment. Rich Catania in the 24 and Patrick Allen in the 45 will not set lap times. 23 drivers at lap times, 2 drivers have not, so we're going to be at 25 for the race tonight at Martinsville. Believe everyone has run a qualifying time that plans on running. So, in a couple minutes, we will move on to heat race number 1.
Hey everybody, Larry McReynolds here with NASCAR on Fox. Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time. You are watching the ARCS Racing Networks.
We are waiting for qualifying to conclude here at Martinsville. For everyone that's tuning in, thank you for spending part of your Sunday evening with us here in the ARCS Racing Networks. I'm Clayton Hardy, bringing the action here from the paperclip half mile everyone knows as Martinsville. 3 heat races and a main event coming up once qualifying is over. 23 cars have set a qualifying time. 2 cars have not. The 24 of Rich Catania and the 45 of Patrick Allen have not set a qualifying lap time in this session, and they're not expected to set a qualifying time in this session. For those unfamiliar with how this is going to work, Heat 1 is all the odd number cars from positions 3 on back in qualifying. Heat race number 2 is all the even numbers, positions 4 on back. Those that finish top 6 in each heat move on to the main event. Heat race 1 determines the inside of rows 2 through 7, whereas heat race 2 determines the outside of rows 2 through 7. The rest of the positions are determined by the last chance qualifier. Your front row, the 85 of Jacob Blankenship and the 78 of Toby Estes, locked themselves in by qualifying on the front row. So think of the duels at Daytona. It's that way all race long, all season long in the A Squared Cup Series. Jacob Blankenship looking for his first series career pole in the A Squared Cup Series. Right now he's got it. And it seems like it's a formality before we end qualifying here. Qualifying is officially done. Now it's going to be showtime. See, Tommy Reynolds will be starting on the pole for heat race number 1. Here's what the grid looks like for heat race number 1. It's Tommy Reynolds and Tom Sears on row 1. Davey Houck and Donald Ray in row number 2. Row 3 is Terry Gabbard and Joshua Gaiman. Row 4, Jonathan Hohenbrink and James Kerr III. Row 5 has Ryan Pennell and Matthew Kent. Pete Woodrum and Patrick Allen in row number 6. That is your 12 cars in heat race number 1. So here we go. All right, we're rolling for the first heat race. It's going to be a very quick heat race, 10 laps. They're going to click by here. Race 8 of the season. Again, Reynolds and Sears on the front row have one more lap of formation before we get going for the first heat race tonight. This could be a very quick heat race. This could be a very quick event tonight. 200 laps can click by pretty quick. But it's going to be all about patience and tempers, as any good short track is here this evening. Again, Reynolds pipped to the pole. Knocked out of the front row by Jacob Blankenship, his first career pole in the A-Square Cup Series, and Toby Estes, who qualified outside front row. Reynolds going to try to hold on and make sure he gets a third-place starting spot for the main event tonight. Pace cars in pit lane. Reynolds coming out of turn 4. Green flags in the air. We are underway for heat race number 1. Sears in it on the outside of turns 1 and 2. Everyone makes it into the main event. It's just a matter of where you're starting. That was the 5 of Donald Ray. He's going to lose several spots. There's a crash. That's Sears, Pennell, Kerr, Ray all involved. Kerr keeps it rolling, so he takes the 6th spot. That's the transfer spot to the main event. There's the 29 of Pete Woodrum right behind the Nitro Pepsi number 31 of Matthew Kent. Reynolds at the front of the field. In the number 7. Davey Houck in second. Gaiman in third. This is the battle for second. Donald Ray a lap down with a lot of damage. He's going to stay out of the way as Davey Houck goes by in the number 21. Pete Woodrum sits in 4th. James Kerr up to 5th. Matthew Kent in 6th. Just trying to hang on to the last transfer spot. Got Ryan Pennell sitting in 7th, the first one out of the transfer spots. Donald Ray, Terry Gabbard, Tom Sears, Jonathan Hohenbrink, and Patrick Allen. So here's the race leader trying to get around the 12. Nope. Yeah, that is the 12 for Ryan Pennell. Already junked up that advanced auto parts machine. Gaiman in pursuit, trying to bring that position back. Two laps to go here for heat race number 1. They will click by really quick under green. Reynolds gets past the 4 of Terry Gabbard. White flag in the air here in Martinsville. Heat race number 1 almost over. Reynolds never really threatened. Josh Gaiman will come home in second place, pending everything coming as it is through turns 3 and 4. Out of turn 4, it is Tommy Reynolds who secures the 3rd starting spot for the night's main event. Gaiman second, Davey Houck third. Woodrum and Kerr will round out the top 5. Ryan Pennell takes the last transfer spot in 6th. A quick burnout there for Tommy Reynolds before we get ready for heat race number 2. Alrighty. Heat race number 2. Here we go. 11 cars in this one. Tommy Withers will be leading them to the green flag ahead of Jeremy Breo in row number 1. Trey Kirk and Tristan Catania in row number 2. Alex Jimkowski and Seth Wanzing in row 3. Row 4, John Smeal and Bradley Wright. Row 5, Ben Choate and Kevin Feemster with Rich Catania in the last row by himself. Row 6 in that 11th position. Again, top 6 make it into the main event where they finish. You see the cars beginning to roll. Again, it's Withers and Breo in the front row. For those that are new, there are no cautions in these first 2 heat races. There are 2 yellows possible in the last chance qualifier coming up. And then things are as normal in the main event, which is 200 laps tonight. One more lap of formation in heat race number 2, and then we'll be underway. 11 cars in this one. There was 12 in heat race number 1. Nice little view of the entire road, entire short oval here. Green flag in the air. Withers with a really good jump. Tried to leave Breo standing. Trey Kirk in the 66. Going to try to take that second spot away from Breo. We'll see how all of this looks as Withers comes and gives, I think he gives up the spot. Did he just clip Wanzing? No, it was Catania. There's Feemster and Rich Catania. Rich Catania goes back to pit lane. Keep a zoom out view so we can get a lot of this field if we can. Breo to the front. Then it's Kirk, Wanzing, Withers down to 4th. Withers will keep losing spots. Loses up to Bradley Wright and Alex Jimkowski as Trey Kirk goes up to the wall. He'll lose a spot to Wanzing. Some nice static cams here. Several cars nose to tail, top 7. That is the case as Breo tries to check out. It's Wanzing, Kirk, Riley Wright, Tommy Withers, Alex Jimkowski, John Smeal battling for the 6 spots, with Ben Choate and Tristan Catania not far behind. You saw Rich Catania coming out as Withers with a spin. He ends up facing backwards, and he'll just go back to pit lane. So Breo in control. Keep an eye on that number 74. He's going to try to win heat race number 2. Realizing the tower was never turned back on. Apologies for that one. This is what it looks like. Breo's coming to the checkered flag here. Pretty safe and secure for Jeremy Breo. The 74 wins heat race number 2 with ease. Seth Wanzing will finish 2nd. Trey Kirk 3rd. Bradley Wright will finish 4th. Then it's Smeal and Choate taking the final transfer spots. And we're really gonna hop to the last chance qualifier. Totally got that right. Another 11-car race. Donald Ray and Tristan Catania will lead us to the green flag. Matthew Kinn and Alex Jimkowski make up row 2 in this last chance qualifier. Terry Gabbard and Kevin Feemster in row 3. Tom Sears, Tommy Withers in row 4. Row 5 is Jonathan Hohenbrink and Rich Catania. Patrick Allen will round out the field in an 11th spot for this last chance qualifier. So if we're going to see a caution, this will be where the caution takes place. This will be where the first caution could possibly come out here in this last chance qualifier. For those that are unfamiliar, up to 2 yellows can be thrown in the last chance qualifier for accidents. As we get ready to watch everything get underway here. Again, Donald Ray will be leading us to the green flag alongside Tristan Catania. See how this last chance qualifier goes, because this could be an interesting omen for how the 200 lap main event's going to go. Pace car comes down pit lane, which means we are about to get underway here in Martinsville. Green flag in the air. We're underway for the last chance qualifier. Top 3, really good jump. That was Ray, Catania, and Matthew Kent. That was the car that went spinning. Was that Kevin Feemster? It was Kevin Feemster. So Donald Ray at the front of the field, ahead of Tristan Catania and Matthew Kent. That was a car in the wall. That was Tristan Catania. And there's still a spin. That's Matthew Kent. And he just got tagged by Tristan Catania. So Donald Ray at the front of the field. Jimkowski up to second. Withers in third. Ray is going to be able to just walk to this one. Four laps to go here in this last chance qualifier. Donald Ray, so far, untouchable in this last chance qualifier. Jimkowski, a very distant third, 3.7 behind. Withers in third, Sears in fourth. Then it's the Catanias, Tristan ahead of Rich, fifth and sixth. Hohenbrink seventh, Kent in eighth. Gabbard ninth, Feemster in 10th, and Patrick Allen in the 11th spot. Two laps to go until we are in the main event here at Martinsville. And Donald Ray doing a phenomenal job so far. Just closing it out as Tom Sears is parked at the start-finish line. He has spun out of turn 4. Coming to the finish line, it's Donald Ray who wins the last chance qualifier. Jimkowski second. Tristan Catania third. Tommy Withers fourth. Rich Catania in the 5th spot. Matthew Kent will come home in 6th. Oh, 7th, excuse me. We are approaching the end of warm-up here. So as we get ready, we'll walk you through what to expect in this race. And we'll also go through the starting grid as Toby Estes and Tommy Reynolds just got hip checked. Alrighty, here's what it looks like. Air temperature 65 degrees, track temperature is 76 degrees, so it's not a bad track feeling here at Martinsville. It's a cloudy sky, 7-mile-per-hour winds. We'll have a small bit of a play in how the cars handle this afternoon. 200 laps around this half-mile oval, so a little over 100 miles, all things considered. Up to 3 green-white checkers in this event. It's Jacob Blankenship and Toby Estes on the front row. Then it's Tommy Reynolds and Jeremy Breo in row number 2. Row 3, Joshua Gaiman and Seth Wansing will make up that row. Davey Houck and Trey Kirk in row number 4. Pete Woodrum with one of his best starting positions of the season in row 5 on the inside of Briley Wright. The last of those that made it into the transfer spot, James Kerr and John Smeal in row number 6. Looking down the rest of the field, it's Ryan Pinnell and Ben Choate, who were the very last transfers from Heat 1 and Heat 2. Beginning in row number 8, Donald Ray is those in the last chance qualifier. He's alongside Alex Jimkowski. Tristan Catania will be alongside Tommy Withers in row number 9. Row 10 is Jonathan Hohenbrink and Rich Catania. Row 11, Matthew Kent and Terry Gabbard. Row 12, Tom Sears and Kevin Feemster. And rounding out the grid, Patrick Allen in 25th. There's your pole sitter, Jacob Blankenship. As we get ready to go. 25 Gen 7 stock cars about to start some short track racing. It's the main event here in Martinsville. 200 laps. See who's got the patience, see who can control their temper here at the Paperclip. It's the concrete junkyard, as some people will call it. It can go good to bad in a hurry. Who's going to dominate here tonight? Stage 1 ends on the end of lap 40. How long can we make it before our first yellow of the afternoon? Green flag is in the air. We are underway in Martinsville. Reynolds absolutely on the start there. So was Joshua Gaiman on the inside lane. Reynolds just locked it up. Gives the spot to Josh Gaiman. You see Breo there in 4th, trying to challenge for that 3rd spot as they go down the back straightaway to turns 3 and 4. So far, so decent throughout the field. As Gaiman spins! They keep it green as Gaiman spun on his own. But from 2nd place down to 24th for Josh Gaiman. Blankenship holds on to the race lead. It's Toby Estes battling with Tommy Reynolds for 2nd place. On board with Toby Estes as he looks back at Breo, Reynolds, and Wansing. Toby Esty sitting in second behind Jacob Blankenship. Pretty calm and orderly start of this race. We weren't expecting it. But now you're looking at Blankenship and Estes in your screen. The 85 of Blankenship started this race on pole position. Estes was on the front row. They're where they started, and they've got a little bit of a gap between themselves and the 74 of Jeremy Breo. Side by side, Blankenship and Estes. As we sit and we watch at the 2-second gap between them and Breo as Estes takes the race lead away. New race leader, Toby Estes, here in Martinsville. Approaching the 29 of Pete Woodrum. Ben Choate has had an issue. We'll look back at that 42. He's in pit lane. That might know he's right there. There's the 42 of Ben Choate, the Monster Energy Machine. Oh, he just got tagged by Breo. Not sure what that was about, but that's interesting. It's going to hold Breo up. Breo's in the wall. Oh, there's a spin. That was James Kerr III. And that might be our first yellow of the race. John Smeal was involved. There's the yellow flag. $14 laps. He should have just held the brakes there because he almost collected all of the leaders in that. Here's what happened. So we're going to get you a better angle over here. Keep an eye on James Kerr, the 75 machine, center of your screen. Oh, he got helped around by Bradley Wright. Oh, he just lost it in power the second time. And that's what brought the yellow out. Yeah, I'm not sure why he didn't just hold the brakes and wait on that one, because that affected Tommy Reynolds badly. So Estes in the lead of this race ahead of Blankenship, Reynolds, Breo, and Wanzing top 5 under our first caution of the race on lap 17. So we're doubling up here. Pace car's going to take the left into pit lane. It's going to be Estes Breo front row. We watched the choose cone in action there. Estes chose the inside. Green flag back in the air. We're underway once again here at Martinsville. And the yellow flag is back out. And I'm not entirely sure why. So we're under another caution. I'm not sure what happened to cause that yellow. So the choose cone being used here. Estes and Breo chose the inside. Blankenship chose the outside lane. So did Jimkowski. Seth Wansing, the number 9, chose the inside lane. Donald Ray chose the outside, along with Trey Kirk. Green flag back in the air. We're underway. It's Estes and Blankenship that were side by side. We'll see how Breo can handle clearing the 85. He does. That was a look back from Estes' bumper. The green flag in the air. We're on lap 26,200. Stage 1 ends on lap 40. Stage 1 is 40 laps. Stage 2, 60. Stage 3 is 100 laps. Everyone at this point trying to click out laps to get through the first stage of this race. Essie's doing a really good job of keeping Breo and Blankenship at bay. Beamster has had a spin. Uh-oh. Almost spun it again. Trying to stay on the lead lap. Uh-oh, that was Jimkowski. Jimkowski, oh, that's a big pile up. That's a yellow. Third caution of the race. And it starts with Jimkowski. We're going to take a look at what happened to Jimkowski here. Because we heard it before we saw it. And here's what happened. He's side by side with Tommy Reynolds. So here we go. We're going to take a look. It's going into 3 and 4. Reynolds just drifts up, drifts up, drifts up. Oh, Jimkowski just spun on his own. Reynolds pushed him up, but didn't actually make contact with him. It wasn't until Jimkowski started spinning. And once he started spinning, it was a dog pile. Jimkowski just too much throttle, too much torque. Spun it around. You saw Kirk, Ray, Hauk, Bradley Wright, Gaiman, Hohenbrink all involved in that. A lot of cars. Now with some significant damage here at Martinsville. So we're watching everyone here. Toby Estie's still at the lead of this race. It is Estes, then Blankenship will be on the outside, the front row. Then it's Breo and Trey Kirk in row number 2. Pace cars in. Estes gets the jump. We're underway once again to try to finish stage number 1. Stage ends at the end of lap 40. See if they can make it that far. 3 laps until the end of the stage. It's Estes, Breo, Blankenship, Kirk, Wansing, top 5. Top 10 get points for the stage. Two laps to go in stage 1. Estes and Breo still top 2, still within a second. Blankenship right on Breo's tail, though. Out of the final corner, Toby Estes wins stage 1. Breo comes up second, Blankenship third, Trey Kirk fourth, Seth Wansing in fifth, Donald Ray sixth, Terry Gabbard seventh, Josh Gaiman eighth, Tom Sears ninth, James Kerr with the final stage point for stage 1 in 10th. So we're under caution for the end of stage number 1. Watch Toby Estes take a pit stop. Jeremy Breo did not. Neither did Seth Wansing in the number 9. The front two stayed out. They have not pit yet so far in this race. The only two that have not yet pit in this race. You see the choose cone being used here. Breo to the inside, Wansing to the outside. They're on the oldest tires in the field. The oldest tires outside of them, James Kerr III on lap 15 is when he pit. Everyone else pit lap 31 or later. So a lot fresher tires beyond 4th place, which is Ryan Pinnell. Shimkowski in 5th, Davey Halkins 6th. That's row 3. Row 4 is Toby Estes and Jacob Blankenship, our front row of the grid. Green flag to start stage number 2. We are racing once again in Martinsville, and Breo got a really good jump. The wheel spin that we were kind of expecting to see did not come. As you look a little bit further down, this is James Kerr the third trying to battle and hold on to third place. Ryan Pinnell going to try to challenge him a little bit high and wide. That was Jankowski up near the wall. Losing spots to Estes and Blankenship as he is now forced on the outside lane. Nothing doing for the number 99. John Deere. Uh-oh, that's problems. That is huge problems. That's John Smeal stuck. He towed back to pit lane, but that was atrocious. Tanya's crashed. Chris Catania, he spun on the front straightaway. Breo at the front still, then it's Wansing and Kerr in the top three. Blankenship up to fourth, Estes in fifth. Breo running a little bit higher up on that lane. He's definitely not letting up, though. 53 lap both tires, but Breo is still pushing. So is Wansing and Kerr. Blankenship and Estes still side by side. This is the battle for fourth place. These are the two on the freshest tires in the field. Estes will put his nose to the inside of James Kerr. Blankenship will try to follow. Estes now working on Wansing, and that's going to be an easy clear for Estes. The 78 now on the charge, tracing after the 74 of Jeremy Breo. Blankenship clears for third. A little bit further back, that's Trey Kirk. Almost wrecking out. Keeps it going. As that's Matthew Kent. Kent kept it going in the right direction, but some cars definitely struggling more than others so far in this race. Matthew Kent down the 15th. There's been a crash, and it's been Blankenship. Blankenship and Wansing. Fourth caution for an accident, fifth caution overall. And that's one of the victims, Seth Wansing. This is why we're looking at Blankenship in your screen. Blankenship's slow, he just guns it too early, and Wansing, nothing he could do. James Kerr got a piece of it as well, so 3 cars involved. Just gunned it too quick on the exit of turn 4. Wansing coming to pit lane, missing the entire front end of his car. Blankenship stays out. Interesting call for Blankenship there. So interesting development here. You see the damage on the back of the 85 car of Jacob Blankenship. He stayed out despite being run into by Seth Wansing. Wansing forced to use his fast report early. Pace cars in, we're back underway. For the 6th time here at Martinsville, green flag back in the air. We're racing once again. It's Breo that gets the jump, takes the lead over Toby Estes and then Jacob Blankenship. We're going to have another yellow here. Back at the field, it's Simkowski. Rich Catania was a part of it. And just like that, we're back under yellow. It was Jimkowski and Catania. We'll see what happened. Ooh, Catania got loose and just came across the nose of Jimkowski. See if we get a better angle over here. See how loose Catania got coming out of turn 2. So quickly back under yellow for the 6th time this evening. This time before an accident between the 24 of Rich Catania and the 99 of Alex Jimkowski. So Brea is still in the race lead. He is still yet to pit on lap 68. We'll see what that brings. Be good look at what the choose cone means here. You get to choose the lane you get to start in. Pace car's in. Brando gets a really good launch. Once again, we're back underway. Almost looked like a bit of wheel hop from Blankenship. Uh-oh. Another accident. Tom Sears and Jimkowski again involved. Now for the 7th time, we're under yellow. This is what happened on the restart. Yeah, Tom got a little bit help from Ben Choate getting sent in there pretty deep. Got Seth Wansing sideways, and then Jimkowski nowhere for him to go. He just gets to the side of Tom Sears there. So that's not going to be great. Especially seeing as how Jimkowski just prepared his car. So Sears on pit lane. He's going to come back out here. There's Jeremy Breo at the front of the field. Back to single file here after the 7th caution of the race. Green flag back in the air. Almost a jump start there by Ben Choate. See if anything happens with that. Notice that they went single file. When you have back-to-back cautions like that, race officials have the ability to make it a single file restart to prevent issues from reoccurring. They have felt that they have needed to use the single file restarts here So they're going to try to get some green flag laps in with stage 2 ending on lap 100. It's Breo, Estes, Blankenship, Pinnell, top 4 as Estes looks for the race lead. Again, Breo's on the oldest tires. He's the only driver that has not pit at all so far this race. That was the car that tagged the wall. That was James Kerr that tagged the wall. And then number 75. Kerr battling side by side with the 51 of Bradley Wright. There's a problem. That's Estes and Breo, and that's the leaders wrecking out. We were looking a little bit down as the mid-pack battle was beginning to heat up, and we missed the leaders wrecking. We'll have to take a look as to what happened, because Breo was leading Estes, but Estes had a pretty good run on him. We'll see what happened here. So we're under caution for the 8th time. So here's what happened. It happened with Catania. It started with the 48 of Tristan Catania right here. Enters in really hot. Wheel hops a little bit. You see the damage on his car already. And he just spins in front of the race leaders. Just trying too hard to stay in front of the leaders there, I believe. So Estes comes out of pit lane. It throws Breo down the order. Puts Jacob Blankenship back in the lead. The pole sitter back out front. So Blankenship at the front of the field. We're going to be single file restarts here from here on out. It's Blankenship, then Pinnell, Kerr, Wright, Kirk, Hauk, Choate, Gaiman, Wanzing, and Jimkowski top 10 as we approach 15 laps to go in stage number 2. Stage 3 starts at the end of lap 100 and goes to the end of the race, so stage 1, 40 laps, stage 2 is 60 laps, and then stage 3, the longest, 100 laps. But we're almost to the halfway point in this race. Green flag back in the air. Blankenship with a really good run. We're back underway here in Martinsville. It's Blankenship, Pennell, Kerr. Withers and spun. That is turn 4 that he spun in. And he's almost spun again. He has spun again. And yellow's going to come out again. For the 9th time. We're under yellow, and Tommy Withers, center your screen, is the reason why. Here's what happened. Withers just kept gunning it, is what happened. That's all that happened there. Because he gunned it on this restart. And too low of a gear, and he spun it around. And just couldn't get it. He didn't put it in high enough gear to keep the revs down, and just kept looping it around. So that's why we're under our 9th caution of the night. The 8th for contact, or 8th for an incident. Here at Martinsville. It's been a rough night for several drivers in this field. So Withers will come down pit lane. He's the only one to do so. Green flag back in the air. Blankenship, Pennell, Kerr, right, top 4. 7 laps left in stage 2. Blankenship's pole sitter has not led that many laps so far in this race, but with Estes and Breo involved in an accident earlier in the stage, Blankenship in the catbird seat, but Pennell wants the race lead. A really strong lunge through turns 1 and 2 for Pennell in the number 12. Gonna keep an eye on it. 5 laps to go here in stage 2. Still Blankenship, then Bennell, Kerr, and Gaiman running third and fourth. Bradley Wright in fifth, and then number 51. Then it's Trey Kirk in the 66. Side by side, Wanzing and Choate. Neither of those cars are clean. See what Wanzing can do, trying to get to the inside of Choate, trying to clear him on the inside. Choate doing a pretty good job holding on the outside lane, but the inside is just where you want to be. Too much grip on the inside lane. And Wanzing will take that 7th spot. Final lap in stage number 2. Blankenship's pulled away a little bit from Pennell now. Now they settled in, but the caution's going to come out at the end of the lap to end the stage. So he's going to have to do it again at the end of the stage. Out of turn 4, stage 2's winner. Jacob Blankenship in the 85 takes the 10 bonus points. So Blankenship pits under this under this caution flag for the stage. Gabbard is the provisional race leader. He pit on lap 72, so he technically could stay out here and lead some laps and get some bonus points. So it's Gabbard, Sears, and Matthew Kent in the top 3. As we get ready for the final stage of this race, we're past the halfway point. Pace car is in. It's Gabbard leading the field to green to start the final stage here in stage 3. Gabbard, Sears, Kent, Out of turn 4, Gabbard goes. Green flag in the air. Stage 3 underway here in Martinsville. So Sears has already gotten past Gabbard, but Gabbard's led some laps, so he's got the bonus point for a lap led. Now Tom Sears trying to make the most of the situation. Sears pit on lap 89, so he's got some fresh tires on that number 14 machine, and it shows. He's put a gap between himself and Terry Gabbard. Breo's going to try to chase him down, though. Let's see what happens to that number 74 as he gets by the 4 of Gabbard. Oh, that's a car in the wall. That's Gabbard. Gabbard's the one that got turned and put into the wall. And he's going to drop out of the top 10 in a hurry. Down to 14th. Looking at possibly a little bit more than that. Still Sears at the front of the field. So we're looking at Sears. See Tommy Withers in the number 6 car. In between Sears and Breo. He's going to move to the outside. He's going to get passed by Breo here. This car on the wall. Is that who I think it is? That might be Hohenbrink. It is Hohenbrink. He's going to stay out of the way, fortunately. But his race going bad to worse. He's down in 23rd. He's just trying to stay out of the way. So Sears still holding his own right now. Round up 116. Sears doing a pretty good job of trying to stay ahead of Jeremy Breo. The gap's not coming down like astronomically. Breo is obviously reeling him in. So is Joshua Gaiman in that 61, the Ukrainian tribute machine. But it's not overwhelming, the pace that Breo's got right now. I guess you can kind of say that that's part of just Martinsville. You're not going to gain that much time in one lap, as Ben Choate stays to the inside, out of the way of the leaders. Oh, Breo almost lost it. Caution's out, and it's for Seth Wansing. And Seth Wansing still on the back straightaway. Oh, not what I wanted there. Take a look at the replay. What happened to Seth? The number 9. Did he just gun it? Yeah, he just gunned it. That seems really weird. Because Davey Hawk was in pit lane. That's a very soft yellow call. That's a really weird call. 11th caution of the day. Alrighty. So we're under the 11th caution of the race. For those that are sticking in there with us, we appreciate it. It is Martinsville after all. So we expected every car to have fenders bent at some point in this event. And for the most part, I think we've succeeded in that goal. Not really a goal, but it's an achievement. Remember, single file restarts here. That was determined during stage 2 to try to minimize accidents. So Gaiman's out in front. Then it's Breo, Blankenship, Kerr, Estes, Tristan, Catania, Wright, Kirk, Ray, and Feemster top 10. Twenty cars, 21 cars still in this race out of 25 starters. Pace cars in pit lane. We're on lap 124, coming to lap 125. Green flag back in the air. We're underway. Gaiman and Breo lead us to the green flag. See what Joshua Gaiman can do at the front of the field. A little bit of contact further back. The front row sitting 3rd and 4th. It's Blankenship and Estes. Of those that were in the top 5, Breo's the only one that has not pit, that did not pit during the 3rd stage break. Breo pit on 82. Everyone else in the top 5 pit on lap 101. John Smeals had a bit of struggle. There is the 50 car coming up in front of the leaders. Ben Choates had a spin. Bit hazard is there for the 42, but they stay green. Only one car involved, and he's rolling before the leaders get to him. Going Gaiman, there's contact. Estes up to 2nd. Gaiman down to 3rd. Estes racing Breo. Breo tried to fade. Breo being really aggressive. That's not going to be what people want to see. Estes not having any of it. Estes keeps him on the outside lane. Gaiman's to his door. Gaiman's not going to be happy. Yellow's out before they can do anything. And that's probably the best possible alternative, because that was about to get nasty. Caution's out for Davey Houck. Oh, that was about to get really bad. Oh, that was about to get ugly. Here's what happened to the 21 of Davey Houck. If we can actually replay the footage. Here's the footage of Davey Houck. Looks like this might have been other people other than Davey Houck. He just was a part of it. Yeah, Pennell and Davey Houck, Houck came to a complete stop, whereas Pennell kind of kept rolling. That's why the yellow came out. We'll take another look at it. Pennell gets loose and then overcorrects, and Houck had nowhere to go. And he just comes to a stop. Yellow comes out. So we'll try again. So here's what happened to the race lead. This is where it gets really awkward. So this is the battle for the race lead, and this is kind of where it all kicked off. Breo locks it up, checks Gaiman into the stratosphere. Toby Estes takes advantage, says thank you very much, I'll take that. Breo being extremely aggressive on the defensive here, trying to fade down. Comes down trying to fade, and Estes like, nah, I'm here. Not doing that to me. And Estes has the better tires, so Breo can't get the drive out of the corner. Tries to fade in on Estes. Estes holds him up, and the caution comes out right here before Gaiman can get to that quarter panel and saves Breo from a world of hurt, potentially, at the hands of that 61 car. So that was what happened there. You see Davey Houck on pit lane. Part of the cause of this most recent caution, the 12th one of the race, him and Ryan Pennell got together. Estes, your race leader. Then it's Breo, Gaiman, and Blankenship top 4. And it was getting pretty spicy in the top 3. So the pace car is back in. We'll see what happens on this restart here. It's Estes, Breo, Gaiman, and Blankenship top 4. Curran 5th. Riley Wright 6th. Donald Ray in 7th. We're underway. Green flag back in the air. We're on lap 137 of 200. Here we go. There's another yellow. And this one's not a pretty one, and now that's why. We switched the replay way too early because it caught the leaders by surprise. Believe Estes going to be the race leader. He is the race leader. He's taking the race lead back, but it was out of turn 4. Jumped that a little bit early. Actually, looks like Josh Gaiman might be the race leader. We'll double check. Everyone came to a stop on that one. So here's what happened. And you see right there, Ben Cho's got the tires locked up. It's not going to be a lot of good things. And we accidentally keep going back live. Here we go. So everyone stacks up here. Oh, and Ben Choate just runs over Hohenbrink. That's not great. Just completely ran him over and completely blocks turn 3 and 4 because there's nothing that they can do. And the race leaders are coming up. And they all come to a stop. Breo has to lock tires up. So he's definitely got damage because he tags the wall. Yellow came out well in advance. But Ben Choate just ran over Jonathan Hohenbrink on that restart. Just went before anyone else went. Number one rule, go when the car in front of you goes. Ben Choate obviously didn't get that memo because he completely ran over Jonathan Hohenbrink. So back under yellow, another quick yellow, back to back. Ben Choate, the cause of that one, running into Jonathan Hohenbrink and collecting Davey Houck in the process, as well as the leaders when they came back around to a completely blocked track. So we're back to live pictures, and there's a lot of missing fenders. Not a pretty sight. Green flag back in the air. Tobiesti's back down in 9th place on that restart. That's what we were looking at. Joshua Gaiman got lucky. Breo stayed out with damage as we tried to figure out what all was going on. Back underway on lap 144. Almost lost on our braking. Almost wheel hopped it. They turns 1 and 2. Jacob Blankenship, the pole sitter, in 3rd. James Kerr in 4th. The Breo holding on to 2nd place as Gaiman tries to walk away. Bradley Wright getting passed in the background there by Donald Ray in the number 5 machine. Tobiesti is on his way up to the field and back up to 6th now as Bradley Wright drops down to 7th. You see the damage on that number 51, missing the front of that car. Tristan Catania, he's had a wild race, but right now sitting top 10. Not a really bad result as there's been trouble. That's a car upside down. That was Terry Gabbard, I believe. And we're under yellow again. What happened? Yeah, it was between Tom Sears and Terry Gabbard, whatever happened. Oh. Gabbard just went on his own, and Tom Sears just helped lift him over. Yeah, Tom Sears didn't know where to go, and just pushed the 4 over. And Gabbard just went back to pit lane. Breo in the lead now. Fourteenth caution of the night. Alrighty, lights out on the pace car for the 14th time. Less than 50 laps to go here in Martinsville. Back to green flag. We're underway once again here at Martinsville. It's Breo, Blankenship, Kerr, Ray, Estes, Wright, Catania, top 7. You see the backup there behind Bradley Wright in the 6th spot. Breo trying to walk away from Jacob Blankenship here. Blankenship's got one of the cleanest cars on the field, but that's because we can't see the back of his car where he's already been hit once. So for cars missing the front end of their car, 4 in a row. You got Wright, Catania, Wanzing, Choate, and I believe that's Jimkowski in that 99. It is Jimkowski. Can't be feeling the greatest in the world right now without that front downforce, but I guess you use the chrome horn until the chrome's knocked off of it. And they've knocked the chrome off of it. Wanzing down in the 10th spot, trying to hold on to the top 10. Trey Kirk messes up a little bit. Gonna give Wanzing 9th place. At the front of the field, Breo's got a second gap over Blankenship. Estes in 3rd. These 3 have been essentially top 3 at some variation really early in the race. James Kerr lost it under acceleration, and that's going to be a yellow. Yep. For the 15th time, we're under yellow here in Martinsville. James Kerr lost that mid straightaway, which means he was going through the gears. Some damage on that right side. That's where he hit first. The Kerr's in pit lane, as well as Toby Estes and Jeremy Breo. Breo stays out. Blankenship comes in. Well, Blankenship stays out. Estes comes in. My apologies there. We are within 40 laps to go in this race. Green flag back in the air. Breo leading. Then it's Blankenship, Ray, and Gaiman. And Ray just ran right into the back of Blankenship. Shades of Richmond 7 days ago. Gaiman up to second. Caution's out. But it's for Bradley Wright, and I think others were involved. There's Davey Houck, I think, might have been involved in it too. Pandemonium here. Absolute bedlam. Here's why. Well, if we can stop going back to live footage, here's what happened to Bradley Wright, which we believe might have caused the yellow. He used his fast repair, and he just spun it. No? Oh, that definitely would have been it. That's why the yellow came out. Bradley Wright lost in our braking into turn 3. Oh dear. 16 yellows tonight. Not a record you want to set. Unfortunately, it is one I think we have set tonight. 16 yellows. I'd have to look back to the statistics, but I believe that is a record number of yellows tonight Props to Breo, though. He's trying to get this race over with, trying to just run away with it. Wild restart there. Donald Ray ran over Jacob Blankenship. Moved Blankenship from second to fourth. He's now down behind Tristan Catania in third. Gaiman in second. And the race leader, Jeremy Breo, trying to win yet another race. Again, props to Breo for keeping the car in front of it, because he's not had the easiest race either. I don't think A1's had really a straightforward race. It's been pretty convoluted. But we're approaching 31 laps to go. I can imagine there's going to be a lot of frustrations tonight. Post-race interview is going to be interesting. Yep, that much. Pace cars in, green flag's out. Breo leads us to the green flag. 30 laps to go here in Martinsville. Gaiman with a really good run, really fantastic run, but he's on the outside lane. Not much you can do with the outside lane there. Blankenship just tagged the wall trying to get around Tristan Catania. Catania looking for his first podium of the season. This is the race where it might happen. The pole sitter down in fourth. Catania trying to hold on to that podium spot. 28 laps to go. Yellow flags in the air. What's it for? Donald Ray is part of it. And he's missing the entire back of that car. What happened to Donald Ray? Oh, he got turned by Tommy Withers. Withers turned him. Ryan Pinnell got a part of it. That's 4 cars. Yep, that's a yellow. Oh dear. 17 yellows. It's as tedious as it can possibly get. Now we're in the last 25 laps, so anyone that's got anything left of their cars, this is where they start getting in trouble. Typically. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if the trend breaks with this caution here. Let's see what the over/under is. If you pick the over at 16, you know more than I did. So it's Breo, Gaiman, Catania, Blankenship, Wanzing, Kirk, Estes, Shimkowski in 8th, Kent in 9th, and James Kerr in 10th. I believe Breo's going for his 5th win of the season. I'm going to double check on that because I'm not entirely sure that's accurate. No, he's going for his 4th win of the season. My apologies. 4th win of the season. He won Vegas, Phoenix, and Circuit of the Americas. So he's going for race win number 4 of the season. Under our 17th caution of the night. Which means, if we're playing the law of averages, it means another caution's coming out in about 11 laps. Typically how that goes. Pace cars in. It's Breo and Gaiman on the front of the field. Gaiman wanted to go early. Breo's like, nah, we'll go when I want to go. Now we're green flag. But Gaiman, super energetic and excited to get after it. He thinks he's got something for Breo. He might. Unless the something that Gaiman has is a bit of a bump and run, because Breo moved Gaiman out of the way earlier in this race. Expecting at least one more yellow if the law of averages is accurate at all. And that's Kerr! No, that's not Kerr, that's Kirk! That was Trey Kirk that spun. No yellow for that yet. He was spun down to the wall and he stayed out of the way. So a good no call there. Keeping it green. Gaiman trying to drive to the bumper of Jeremy Breo, see what he can do, see if he can make something happen. Commendable. "17 laps to go. These top two have split away from Estes, Blanchard, and Catania. See if Toby Estes can catch up to the leaders here. Estes has had the pace to do it all race long. As of right now, this is the battle for the race lead. Toby Estes is into conversation. There's some contact somewhere. Looks like it's between Catania and Choate. This is the midfield battle. Choate up to 10th. Catania down to 11th. Breo just locked up as Estes goes after Gaiman. Estes trying to get around Gaiman. He's going to clear him here. Gets clear. Now Estes has to chase down Breo. Can Estes finally get a race win out of this? Oh, Estes tagged the wall. He's going to give it back up to the 61 of Gaiman, but he's still in that contention right now. See if he can get it back, but that just gave Breo a lot of space with less than 10 laps to go. Estes finished second to Breo at Circuit of the Americas. So Estes is used to having to chase Breo down. We'll see what happens here. Battle for second. Jimkowski moves out of the way. 7 laps to go. This is the battle for second. Estes in the 78. Gaiman in the 61. Estes to the front of this battle. He's going to try to lunge into turn 3 and 4. He's going to clear him here. Trying to keep it tidy. 6 to go. Gap's 1.3. Five laps to go. Estes is starting to pull away a little bit from Gaiman, but he's not reeling in Breo as much as he wanted to. Team Sideswipe teammates, they're working ahead a little bit. Matthew can't let Breo go without too awful much. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go. Breo just trying to bring it home. Out of turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Jeremy Breo wins for the 4th time this year. He takes Martinsville. Estes again, 2nd place. Josh Gaiman brings it home 3rd. Jacob Blankenship, the pole sitter, brings it home 4th ahead of Seth Wansing, who brings home a top 5. James Kerr in 6th. Ryan Pinnell in 7th. Alex Jimkowski in 8th. Ben Choate in 9th. Davey Houck in 10th. But Breo holds on. What felt like an endurance race. Jeremy Breo has conquered it. Race win number 4 on the year. Can anyone stop Jeremy Breo? Jeremy Breo wins here at Martinsville. Going to be interesting post-race conversations if anyone feels like talking after this. I know the tensions might be a little bit high. But the top three, Breo, Estes, and Gaiman, they were top three most of the race. Jacob Blankenship in fourth place, also in that mix for a lot of the race. South of that, it was a pick-your-own-adventure as far as figuring out where you're going to end up. 21 cars took the checkered flag. Results will stay scrolling on the left-hand side of your screen. We're going to proceed with the post-race interviews here. We're going to begin with Joshua Gaiman here. Josh, this is Clayton from the ARCS Racing booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Alrighty, man. Didn't seem like you were getting much momentum out of anything in that race. How difficult was that race?
Yeah, it's never been a track that I've been good at or really enjoyed racing at, but I mean, I pretty much just kept it in fourth the whole race and tried to save the right rear as much as possible.
We saw a lot of drivers looping it during this race. A lot of incidents starting because of drivers getting loose. Was it because they were shifting down? You said you're keeping it in fourth. Was that really the only saving grace you had?
Not even that, because it was still wanting to go all over the place. The way the rear end of these cars are, it's super vague and really hard to read. And when it snaps, it does it super, super fast. There's no way to save it, really.
Obviously, I mean, the first time I think we've talked to you in quite a while. You've been at the forefront of these things. Obviously, you're in practice. You're always atop the sheets. Like, you're putting in the laps and everything. I believe this might be either your first or second podium of the year, so we haven't seen you up here very often. Being able to survive better than everyone else here at Martinsville, knowing that Bristol's next week, I believe, does that give you a little bit of confidence, knowing that maybe you're starting to get a hang of this and that luck's starting to kind of come to your favor a little bit?
Yeah, that was really what I was missing, was the luck. At Coda, I think I led a couple laps there, and then whenever Jeremy kind of half looped it in front of me, it gave me a meatball, and then I had to pit. So, yeah, I definitely had a fast car there. Going into this race, I felt pretty confident in the speed. I just had to figure out the stability of the car. In Richmond last week, I just had some good and bad luck in there, all sprinkled out throughout it. So, yeah, definitely gives me confidence, and it's a dirt race, so, who doesn't like that?
Well, I mean, you're finishing on the podium here. It was a fun little battle. You got a little bit argy-bargy between you, Toby, and Jeremy, with about 50 laps to go. Everyone seemed like they were trying to move each other a little bit. We've heard the braking on these cars have been pretty terrible. Not very predictable, not very consistent. Was that more of the same here tonight? Obviously, you talk about the stability at the rear of the car. Was the braking any better? Was it any different? Or was the braking contributing to some of the issues?
I feel like, and this is something that, somebody that knows more about iRacing might be able to confirm. I'm not sure. It just feels like the left front tire's not on the ground at all. Because that's the only time you ever really lock a tire up is the left front. It feels like it just floats there, like you're driving a wingless sprint car or something. So yeah, the brakes are definitely an issue.
I mean, well, you survived. You survived. You got a podium out of it. You and Toby had an absolute incredible battle there at the end when we got that green flag going. Looking forward at Dirt Bristol. Yeah, Dirt Bristol, and I think Dover in 3 weeks after that, because we're taking the week after off. More short ovals. Any idea what we're expecting these next couple races? We're still got the short track races, and then obviously Darlington after that.
I really just got to work on consistency. That's definitely, a must. We're skipping Talladega because I think a bunch of the guys are going to the actual race. Yeah. But yeah, the dirt track should be good. I've been running some laps at the rescan, and it makes the racing 100 times better than the original version. So the racing there should be pretty good. Hopefully we can get some, multiple lanes and move around. But Dover's always a super fun track, and then Darlington after that's a blast. So yeah, the next couple of weeks should be pretty fun.
Well, Josh, you did a fantastic job surviving, better than most. You were able to kind of keep your car forward and near the front of the race most of the time. Tradition up here, if you have anyone you want to shout out and you want to say thank you to, the floor is yours. You finished on the podium, so take it away.
Yeah, I mean, no sponsors at the moment, just, representing the Ukraine car as much as possible, because, what's going on there is definitely wrong in a lot of ways. And just the admins for putting it all together, and the broadcast for doing a pretty awesome job.
Well, I appreciate the compliment. Again, congrats on your third place finish, Josh. Definitely well earned. Definitely something that you've been waiting a lot of the season for. You've been up there. Hope to see some more of that success come Bristol and Dover.
So do I.
Have a good one.
You too.
That was Josh Gaiman, our third place finisher here tonight at Martinsville. His first podium of the season, and well earned. He's been quick all season long. We're going to move along to the second place finisher, Toby Estes, who just barely edged out Joshua Gaiman here for that second place. We're going to talk to him here in just a second, make sure that the volume is correct on everything. Looks like it is. So we're going to bring Toby Estes, driver of the 78, into the booth. Hey, Toby, this is Clayton from RX Racing Networks. You got a copy?
I sure do. What's up, buddy?
Alrighty. Well, another podium for you. Obviously not the race win you were hoping for. You start on the outside of the front row. Got back to where you started at the end of that race, but very convoluted way to get there. Everyone was a ping pong ball at some point. Just give us your thoughts on what that race was like. And obviously, we knew it was going to be rough. It's Martinsville, but how do you handle that for 200 laps, knowing that it's essentially a 2-hour affair?
I mean, it's a frustrating race, especially whenever you're trying to get into a groove. Shifting's a big part of it. Getting your brake bias just right, and just beating a guy off the corner and getting on his inside, and then again, trying not to overshoot the next corner and take you both out. I mean, it's just a hard track.
Obviously, you thought about not being able to find momentum. And you brought up a good point in shifting. We talked to Joshua Gaiman just before this. He said he just kept it at fourth the entire time. Were you shifting? What was your philosophy going into? What was helping you the most getting around the corners here? Because it seemed like a lot of drivers didn't have that quite figured out.
The key is your brake bias. You got to have a really good brake bias, and you got to know when to shift. Shifting down helps slow the car down a little bit more. You use a little less brake, and it rolls the corner better. You just got to know exactly what to do with the throttle whenever you're exiting, and that's the biggest key.
That's an interesting sort of philosophy. I guess it would explain it. It would explain why you had such a good exit all the time, being able to shift down to third and get that torque on corner exit. It was interesting because we heard some cars they wouldn't shift at all, or we heard that they would shift down to third. We saw a couple attempt to shift down to second, and it didn't work out.
With me, it was backing down the car in corner entry and allowing it to roll the corner, and then as soon as you get in that groove where you can pick the throttle up, and you do that consistently every lap, I mean it's going to add up, and you're gonna have better lap times. And I hate it. I think I had the winning car, but just a couple mistakes.
No one had a clean car at this point, at any point in this race. Everyone ended up with some battle scars at some point or another. Just getting through the field and working your way forward, because you ended up pretty far in the pack at a couple points. With the general consensus that this was just a rough race. Looking at next week with it being Dirt Bristol, how do you feel that this race is going to go? Not only for you, because you've been fast across multiple races this season. Obviously, you've been on podium before. But looking at Dirt Bristol, what are you expecting as far as like from your competitors and from yourself going in the next week?
I think you're going to see a lot of the dirt guys kind of outshine, your asphalt guys. It's going to be a fun race. It's going to be tough. It's definitely going to be a lot of beating and banging. I know my Bluegrass Bandit teammate Briley. He's a little bit better at dirt than I am, so I kind of look forward to him having a better day than me. But we'll certainly see how it plays out.
Obviously, Dirt Bristol next week, and then Dover and Darlington after that, since we're missing Talladega. Just so you've been here before. I don't know if we got the interview you first time you got on the podium. I believe at Circuit of the Americas. But tradition is, if you have anyone you want to shout out, anyone you want to thank, the floor is yours. You finished second. Definitely had the pace. I believe you had the fastest lap in the race. Let me double check on that just to be sure. You did 19.38. So definitely a lot on your end there. Especially if we visit Martinsville again, something you can kind of keep in your back pocket. But again, if you have anyone you want to shout out, anyone you want to say thank you to, the floor is yours, man.
Yeah, again, man, thanks to you. You do a great job on these races. I don't see how you do it and keep up with everybody. Shout out to Ryan and everybody who puts all this on. Shout out to my teammates with the Bluegrass Bandits, Briley, Cody Riggs, and Tyler Patterson. I know he wasn't here tonight, but we got some good teammates. They help us keep our cool throughout the race. But hopefully this isn't the last time you see us.
I have a feeling we're not going to. You've been fast all season long. It just not having the consistent luck with Dirt Bristol. Obviously, try to pick Briley Wright's brain a little bit and see if we can see you again next week.
Yep, thank you.
Have a good one. Alrighty, that was Toby Estes, our second place finisher here tonight. Now it's time to talk to the man of the hour, our race winner, fourth race win of the season, Jeremy Breo. Make sure our volume is correct so we can get him in here. Hey, Jeremy, this is Clayton from the RX Racing booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Clayton.
All right, fourth time. Not the easiest, most straightforward race in the world. We can tell by the damage on the rear of your car. No one got away incident free in this one. Just give us your thoughts on that race. Obviously, we had that green flag run at the end where you can kind of put the momentum together. Just getting to that point, how difficult was it in kind of figuring out momentum and trying to figure out that rhythm you wanted to have with, I think it was 17 yellows today?
Yeah, it was pretty hard. I mean, like, a caution every 5 or 10 laps was just ridiculous. I mean,
I think
what was happening.
I think up until the last yellow, I think the average was a caution being thrown every 11 laps.
Yeah,
it was a bit rough, but
yeah, I mean, I get it. It's Martinsville, but there was just some guys that were driving it over their head, and it's unfortunate because there were some good guys that were doing it, and it sucks. But I guess it's the track. I know these cars are tough. These cars are just, to be honest with you, without shifting, it was just undrivable. Like keeping it in fourth gear, there was no way you were making the corner every lap. You'd get lucky maybe without shifting, probably the 1 out of every 10 laps, you'd get a perfect lap. You'd have to shift, and I know some guys couldn't shift for some reason. I know Seth had a shifter problem or something was going on with him, and that's why he was having problems. But yeah, it was just tough. And then finally at the end there, we got that run in, and then the car finally just stuck to the track. I mean, the whole race, the car was not stuck to the track at all. It was just, you'd get enough of a run, going into the corner, you downshift, get through the center, right on the center. You want to, not gas up all the way, but like, 1/3 of the gas you want to hit right there, and then it would just break out on you, and then you couldn't get any momentum off the corner. So once we got that run in, I guess the tires got hot enough to where it would just stick coming off the corner, and then that's where I started kind of pulling away on Gaiman, and then Toby was out of this world fast today. He should have won the race by 10 miles instead of finishing second. But other than that, yeah, it was I think we needed that long run at the end for the entire race, and I think we would have had an amazing race, not a 30-lap sprint to the end where it was somewhat okay.
Yeah, it seemed like once we got to that end of that race, it seemed like everyone just kind of figured it out way too late because, those that dropped, that we had 4 people drop out of the race early. Everyone else kind of stuck through it, and kind of just figured out really late in the race. The racing seemed fine. It just, do you feel, I guess with Dirt Bristol and with Dover coming up, do you feel, where do you feel the biggest problem is with the car on these short ovals? Because the complaint's going to rise a little bit more because we've had a couple rough races now on short ovals, with Phoenix being bad, Richmond being decent, but now we've had the most cautions in a race all season tonight, with Bristol coming up next week on dirt and then Dover in 3 weeks. Sort of, I guess, what's the expectation that you're kind of carrying, I guess, for yourself, and kind of what are you going to try to game plan around?
I mean, don't get wrecked. I mean, that's going to be the key. Definitely Bristol, don't get wrecked. Dover's kind of a crapshoot because I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know if the car is going to be good there, like it was on the mile and a halves, or if it's going to be, what we have here, where it's just unpredictable every lap, and you gotta be on pins and needles trying to drive the car. I mean, I that's where I don't like this car very much. As much as I've won in it so far, I don't like how you're on pins and needles so much, and I think that's where the majority of the field is, struggling, because the car is so unpredictable that you can't prepare for the next corner coming up because you just don't know what the car is going to do. With the Gen 6 car, I mean, yeah, you had a lot of horsepower under it, but at the very least, if it did step out on you, you could save it. With this, I mean, there's a probably 20-80 chance you're going to save the car when it steps out. So, I mean, if there's a way that they could, I guess it's kind of realistic to real life, but I didn't see the drivers having a problem yesterday. It kind of seemed like they were on rails yesterday in the real race. But if there's a way that iRacing can give the cars a little bit more of a stability factor, because I know this ain't what it looks like in real life, what these cars are doing, and I'm sure as hell think the real life drivers don't think the cars are doing this either. So, if they could just give us a little bit more stability in the sim, I think that would probably make a better race overall, not just here, but anywhere we go, where it's not just 3 or 4 guys that figure it out. It could be 5 or 10 guys that can figure it out, because the car is more drivable.
You thought about, obviously, the slip angle there with the cars, like, you don't have any slip, and when it goes, it goes. Do you feel temperature has anything to do with that? Because this was one of the quarter races track temperature-wise all season. The track temperature never went above 80 degrees. Do you feel like, did it feel like it took forever to get the tires heated up? Obviously, with cautions in bunches at points, it would have been difficult to get heating the tires anyway. How long did it take when especially in that ending run, how long do you feel that it took for the heat to actually come to you? Did it feel like it took 2 or 3 laps, or was it something that it took almost 10 laps to do?
I mean, I only changed tires once in the entire race, so there was no tire wear at all. And me and Gaiman and Estes were talking about it before we got in the booth here. Like, there was no tire wear at all. I pitted once. I know they pitted a couple times, but then they were like, "Why did I pit?" Because there was just no tire wear. So, and the cautions and everything. I mean, the heat never changed in the tires from what I saw. So when the track got cooler, it obviously picked up so much more grip, because I started running 1950s when I was running 1970s at the start of the race. So the cooler it got more grippier, which in a sense makes sense, but also, if the tire temps are about staying the same throughout the entire race, I don't get why, why it was like that. It just, there's some things that this car just does that it doesn't make any sense.
Obviously, so looking at Dirt Bristol next week, obviously you're talking about don't get wrecked. Some people have run laps already. Have you done testing at Dirt Bristol yet? And If so, what was your first impressions knowing that you've got a week to kind of figure out any issues you've got before the race begins next week?
No, I haven't run any laps, but I have heard somebody say that there's like a bump going into turn one that if you hit it wrong, like you're immediately gonna wreck. So that just doesn't it sound great from the beginning. I know, especially since they re-scanned the track because they put more banking into it this year. That there's some weird spots and stuff with the banking, but I'm looking forward to it. It seems like well, it's definitely going to be something different than what we're used to. But I don't personally know. I hope it's a great race because I think that would be a lot of fun if we had a couple dirt races on the schedule. But yeah, I have zero clue. Hopefully that bump isn't a big issue going into next week. But if it is, I guess we're just going to be bottom feeding the whole time.
Well, Jeremy, you've been here at this point 4 times this season so far to 8 races. You're 50% on your win rate there. Props on that. So you kind of know the drill. If you have anyone you want to thank, anyone you want to shut out, obviously you're part of Team Sideswipe, and Team Sideswipe was all over the place today between Jimkowski and Kent. Obviously you had Wanzing in the 9. You had Trey Kirk, who had a couple issues. A bit all over the place for you guys. But obviously if you want to shout out anybody in particular, if you want to say thank you to anybody, the floor is yours, man. Winner for the 4th time this season out of 8 races. You seem unstoppable.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. So I always got to thank Smule Racing Designs. John and April always making badass schemes for me. I got to thank Midwest Barbecue and the Wansing family for sponsoring me. And Team Sideswipe like usual. And hopefully, Taco Bell sees this. I would love if Taco Bell saw this. If they could sponsor me, that would be great. I'm gonna have a nice soft taco after this from Taco Bell, so that's awesome. And yeah, thanks to everybody Team Sideswipe for always being supporting and always helping out, and for you putting on the broadcast every week. It's a lot of fun to go back and watch through. And yeah, thanks for everybody putting this on.
Well, I appreciate the compliment. You did have a very good looking livery. John knocks it out of the park for you every week, it looks like. Congrats again, 4th win of the season. You're winning on just about everything. Short ovals, speedways, road courses. We'll see you next week and see if you can do it again on Dirt Bristol.
All righty. Thank you, Clayton.
Have a good one.
You too, man.
That was our race winner, Jeremy Breo. For the 4th time this season, he's just racking up the bonus points at this point. He is in a completely different zone. People have been able to try to touch him, but no one's been able to have that consistency that he's had so far. A lot of really good information coming there from Jeremy, from Toby Estes, and from Joshua Gaiman here tonight. We appreciate them kind of giving a bit of their time, kind of explaining kind of what they're looking at from this race, especially going over next week when we race on dirt for the first time this season at Bristol Motor Speedway. Gonna get a little dirty. We'll see how everyone handles being on dirt for the first time this year as we watch Jeremy Breo burn it down once again here at Martinsville. Thank you, everyone, for spending your Sunday night with us. We appreciate it so much here at the ARCS Racing Networks. I'm Clayton Hardy. Until next week, we will see you wherever we see you. Wednesday night, it's ABN Indy ARCS competition at the Charlotte Roval. Next Sunday night, it's going to be the Darkside Mustangs A-Square Cup Series once again at Bristol Motor Speedway in the dirt. So if we don't see you at some point during the week across any of the ARCS Racing Network series, we'll see you next week at Bristol Motor Speedway. But until then, stay safe, stay healthy, have fun. Hopefully the week starts out great for you. It's going to start out great for Jeremy Breo, Joshua Gaiman, and Toby Estes. They were the podium finishers here at Martinsville. For everyone here at ARCS, for everyone here for Darkside Mustangs, for Wendy Chevrolet, and for Midwest Barbecue,